Hi y'all, welcome back to Amber's Diamond Painting. This is Amber. I'm going to be doing a WIP and chat. I do vape. You will probably hear my dogs. I try not to, but it's just how it is. Oh, look at all these drills. Like with my vaping and stuff, like usually when I'm talking a lot and I'm into a story. What did I do here? I must have been drunk. That's my only excuse. Like, how does this happen? I can't possibly be placing these like this and thinking that's okay. I don't know. You guys, I couldn't help it. Look what I got. I got some of these. These are blue. It looks yellow on the screen. I don't know why that looks yellow. But they're not yellow, they're blue. It definitely made me look twice, though. Maybe a few times now. Yeah, it's blue. I'm pretty sure it's a light blue, but it looks yellow on screen. I just had to, guys. I had to get my ABs. And I don't apologize because they're just beautiful and I just can't help myself. I'm gonna have to fix some drills later. That's gonna bother me. So I want to thank y'all, and I'm gonna keep watching because I'll have an announcement later on. So keep tuned, guys. I think what I'm going to talk to y'all about on this this WIP and chat is my wonderful son and how him and I both almost, I don't think I've told you guys this story. If I have, I am so sorry. I hope I haven't already told you, but I don't think I have. About how he came into the world and how me and him both almost lost our lives when I had him. So he's like my miracle, my amazing little man. So if you guys didn't know and you're new, I have 3 kids. I have 2 daughters and then my son. He's the baby. So they're gonna be, they're all gonna be, I'm getting too old. I don't remember how old my kids are. They're gonna be 24, 23, and 22 in February and March. So they're each a year apart. First, it's my daughter Elijah with an A. Then it's Kaylee, it's my middle daughter, and then my son is Caden. And Elijah, she was born on February 13th. And then Kaylee was born March 8th. And then Caden was born February 18th. So yeah. Those are my babies. Now I have 4 amazing grandbabies from my 2 daughters. My one daughter has 3. She just had her 3rd in June, 1st of June. So I was so excited. That's when of course all the COVID happened, and I was able to be in the room with her. They let that hospital let 2 people come in. So she had her husband and then myself being there with her. Because I've been there, with every birth, and it just didn't seem right. I was just like, I was like, this is just upsetting, I don't know, and then, like, I couldn't go to any ultrasounds with her. Neither could her husband. It was just, like, her. And it was just bad, guys, because I was like, I know this is bad to say, but I'm just gonna say it. I was afraid that I wouldn't have the connection that I have with the other ones because it felt like I wasn't there. Oh my gosh, you guys couldn't see what I was doing that whole time. I'm so sorry. I'll pay attention, guys. Sorry. So I kept thinking, what if... But, you know, I knew deep down it's not true. It's just like having more kids. You're like, how can I love them as much as I loved my first? And you do. We just have that much room in our hearts for love, you know? Well, I guess not everybody. Some people do. But I was just, I don't know, I was just like, you know, when you just don't feel a part of it, and it was just strange. I'm used to seeing my grandbabies from the first ultrasound to the last ultrasound, everything in between, and then when they're born. Like, that's just what's happened, and that was really hard with her to not be able to see my granddaughter on the ultrasound. I think for the first few ultrasounds I was able to be there, but then once COVID hit, yeah, we couldn't. So like around March, then we weren't allowed in there no more. Something like that. And yeah, it just made me nervous. So yeah, I got 2 grandsons and 2 granddaughters, and with all of them I've had a dream, and so I've known the sex of all my grandkids right away. I know when my daughters get pregnant, like, I'll tell her, you're pregnant, before she's even pregnant, before she finds out she's pregnant. It's weird. And this last time, like, I saw my granddaughter's face in my dream. I knew she was a girl. I knew she was gonna have dark hair. Like, I knew she was gonna look like Xavier, my grandson. Like, I knew it because I seen her, and I kept telling my daughter, I was like, it's the strangest thing. Usually I don't ever see them. I'll see them wrapped in like a blue blanket, maybe they have dark hair type of thing, but never actually seeing them. In my dream she was a little bit chunkier, but other than that, like, she looks like Xavier. She looks just like my dream. She was just a lot smaller baby. But she was like 3 weeks early, I think. Somewhere around there. But my son, he was 3 weeks early, and he weighed 7'1". He would... That monster. He wanted to destroy me, didn't... Oh my gosh. Are you guys able to see what I'm doing? I swear to baby Jesus. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Let me just make sure you can see all this. Okay. So, let's start with my son. So, I started off having kids young, guys. I'm a young mom. And I wouldn't change that for anything. My kids have helped me grow in different ways than I've never known before. My mom made it very apparent that she was going to be the grandma, but she was not going to be the mom. I said the same thing to my daughters. Yeah, my daughters were teen moms, but they were at least 18. So they were grown. You know, that's legally grown. 18. So, I mean, I'm proud that my daughters did make it to 18 before they had their kids. I wouldn't have been upset if they did, you know, but I don't know. And so, because since I was a young mom, I know I don't know. I didn't find it at the time. I guess I didn't find it so much harder, but looking back now, it's probably, you know, I probably would have had a lot more patience with my kids when I was older, a little bit older, stuff like that, but nothing major. If anything, they made me a better person, that's for sure. They made me a better person and want to be better and do better, and gave me something to live for, you know, and made me want to strive and just be a better person because they're little faces, you know. And so alright, so with my son, my pregnancy was normal. I didn't think I was pregnant. My mom really, she knew. I should have known because my breasts were tender. And we got done boating, and I was like, Mom, I was like, do your boobs hurt? And she just looked at me all weird, and she's like, no. And I was like, well, my boobs hurt. I think it was because the boat. And she looked at me and started laughing, and I'm like, what? And she's like, Amber, she's like, bouncing around on a boat is not going to make your boobs hurt. And then it kind of like, she kind of like thought, and I was like, what? And she's like, you're pregnant. And I was like, no, I'm not. So her and her friend went and got a pregnancy test and brought it back, and I'm like, you guys just wasted your darn money. Like, I'm not pregnant. And sure enough, that positive sign came up. It was light, but it was there. And I was just like, alright. So I got married when I was 17, y'all. My mom had to sign for me. So, I mean, I did everything young, you know? And I'm still married to the same guy. 21 years, almost 21 years later. So, yeah. I think we've done pretty good raising 3 kids and still being together, and we do have our hard times, but I think any couple does, you know? Especially getting that groove of it just being you guys, you know, because before it was just all about our kids, and now it's more about our grandkids, and I think we just need to make it more about us, you know? And we don't know how to, me and him both don't know how to do that. It's taken some learning to just be me and him. You know, I don't know, that sounds weird to say, but I don't know. And so with him, like I said, I had a normal pregnancy. It looked like I was having twins, y'all. I was so huge. Everybody said I was having, they're like, even strangers insisted upon that I was having twins. Like, they're like, there's no way there's only one baby in there. I'm like, yep, there's only one, but thanks. Making me feel really good about myself here, you know? And, but I did get sick with him at the very beginning, and I actually I got starting of pneumonia when I was barely pregnant with him. So I would cough so bad that I would throw up. So I don't think I had morning sickness. I was just sick, and I should have known by how my doctor reacted then that I needed to get a different doctor, because he just kept thinking that I wasn't that sick and that I was just, I guess, a drama queen, or I don't know. He just didn't believe me. And then I kept telling him, like, no bro, like, I am sick. Like, I can't eat because I throw up everything because I cough so hard. And he finally did an x-ray of my chest, and yeah, I had starting a pneumonia, so I had to be put on antibiotics. I had to go in every day for a week and get a shot in my buttocks every day for a week, and if that didn't work, then I was going to have to be admitted to the hospital. But thankfully that worked. And then I had a really good pregnancy. I got a scare around 3 months, 3.5 months, something like that. I got kind of a little bit of a scare. I started to bleed a little bit. I started to get really crampy. And I was like, oh great. I didn't know it was a him. I could have swore he was a girl. But it's weird how you're like wrong about your own kids, but I'm spot on with my grandkids, you know? So for some reason I thought he was a girl. And I was like, great, I'm losing the baby, you know? And so I went to the went to see my doctor. They did an ultrasound. They didn't do a lot of ultrasounds back then. Like, I got 2 ultrasounds done. One when I had the spotting and the cramping, and one when they were doing the anatomy and I found out he was a boy. That's the only time I got an ultrasound. Now they do them, like my daughters, they had one done every time they went in there, which is cool. You can see how your baby's doing. I think that's awesome that they do it every time. Like, you get it. So if you're nervous or anything, like I'm just nervous. I'm nervous about everything, so I couldn't wait to get to the point where if something were to happen, your baby could have a chance to survive, like 23 weeks or whatever. Like, I couldn't wait to get to that point. Just certain things like that. Like, I couldn't overread baby books because sometimes they'd make me panic. I had to swear that that's what my kid was gonna be. Like, he was gonna be born with the outsides, his inside on the outside, you know. Just, I was just worried a lot with him. I don't know why, but I was just worried. And so everything was going great. Found out I was having a boy. Had my baby shower, had all that. Then my grandma came down from Idaho, and I remember that day that my head was hurting, and I told my mom, I was like, my head hurts really bad. A really bad headache. And my grandma wanted to go to Target and other places because she wanted to get, I didn't know his name yet, but she wanted to get Caden some more stuff. And I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put these babies. Okay, I'm going to put lavender and some other colors in here, so I'll leave those J's alone. But am I going to put more in here? But, so she wanted to go to Target, and she was like, you know, are you feeling okay? And I'm like, yeah, Grandma, I'll be okay. And so I think I took some Tylenol, and we went to Target. And while we were at Target, I got the weirdest feeling, you guys, and I can't even describe it now to you guys of how I felt inside. I felt so weird. I just sat down in the middle of the aisle, and my mom's like laughing. She's like, Amber, did you pee your pants? I'm like, no. And I'm laughing, you know, and I'm like, Mom, I feel weird. And my mom's like, what do you mean? I was like, Mom, I don't feel good. I feel weird. There's something's wrong. Then I'm like starting to panic. She's knowing that I'm panicking. And my grandma is too, you know, that I'm like, there's something wrong. Something's not right. And she's like, you're gonna be fine. So my grandma's like, okay, let's just get the things we got and let's go home. And so my grandma only stayed, I believe, for that day, and then she went to my aunt's, I think, in Salt Lake. So I think I only got to spend the day with her, because I believe that night my mom took me to the emergency room because my head felt like someone was hitting me with a hammer. So I go to the emergency room. They tell me that I have, sorry, I hope you saw what I was doing. They told me I had a sinus infection, and that I think they gave me antibiotics or something and told me I was gonna be fine. I just had a bad sinus infection. I was just like, are you sure? Like, I've had sinus infections before, and I have never had my head hurt this bad. To the point where I was like crying. Like, you remember that mentholatum stuff? I'd put that all underneath my nose, like just trying to clear out my sinuses, because they said I had a sinus infection. And so we get home and I'm like, Mom, I'm gonna sleep with you. Now that should have been a sign right there. I usually do not sleep with my mom. Like, that's weird. And I was just like, I'm gonna sleep with you. I had a feeling something wasn't right, you know, and I've been to the ER. They told me I was fine, but in my gut, I knew something was wrong. And so I get up in the middle of the night, and okay, well, I guess I have more of a story to explain to you guys. I don't just say this to everybody, but for this story to make sense, I have to explain some things. So I don't ever say it because I don't feel it's necessary, because me and my husband don't feel it's necessary, because in our eyes they're our kids. So my son isn't biologically his, my daughters aren't biologically mine. So when we met, I had my son, he was 10 months old, and he had his daughters. And their mom, I don't say mom because I'm their mom, I raised them. I did everything. Their egg donor wasn't in the picture, and his sperm donor wasn't in the picture. So I mean, it worked out pretty good, you know? Like, we just gotta raise our kids together, and I guess that's why I call him my miracle baby, and I'll tell you why. You're probably like, miracle baby? What? Like, you had 2 other kids before him. Well, technically I didn't. In my heart, they were there. That's how, like my daughter, when she was 3. My daughter, Elijah, when she was 3, she said, Mom, I was like, what, baby? And she said, Cammy had me in her belly so that you could be my mommy. And you guys talk about crying. Like, I just started crying, and she's like, are you okay, Mom? I'm like, I'm fine. And it made sense, you know, like, even her being 3 years old knew that she had her in her belly, like, she carried her so that I could be her mommy, you know? Just so sweet. Even 3-year-olds know things like that, you know? So Elijah was almost 3, Kaylee was almost, no. Yeah, Kaylee was almost 2, Elijah was almost 3, And Caden was almost 1 when we got married. So we'd only known each other for a couple months. So, and I can tell you some more about, you know, like I've been through some stuff, guys, like with Caden's sperm donor. Like he wasn't good to me. I was in an abusive relationship. If you guys want to know more about that, I can tell you. I can tell you why I got out of it is the first time I held my son. That's when I got out of that relationship. Okay, so back to the story. My baby daddy, he gets home. You guys, he killed himself when Caden was 12. So, yeah. I talked to him like not too long before that, and I told him that he could give up alright, because when we found, oh no, so sorry guys, just give me one moment, so sorry. I'm just trying to find some more where I can put more ABs. I wasn't gonna put any ABs in this, but I was like, yeah, you know what? You look like you need some ABs. So I'm thinking where it has the check marks, that's like a cream whitish color, so I might do white ABs in there. And then the up arrow is actually a peachy color. I do have peachy ABs. So I'll just mix those in there, and then some I won't do the whole thing AB. But I do have some lavender ones I can use for right here, the Y's. So I'm going to flip the canvas though, because I do have some more blue on this side that I want to get done. So here we go. Sorry if you guys can hear any noises or anything. I apologize. Okay, so he didn't want me to have him. He said we're too young. He didn't want a kid. I said, well, too bad. I'm having him. You have two choices. You can stay or you can go. Those are your two options. Like, I'm having this baby. So he decided to stay. And, so he came home, and I had woke up because I thought, oh my gosh, I put too much mentholatum underneath my nose. Like, it's made my head hurt even worse. Like, my head feels like someone is seriously hitting it with a hammer. Every time I move, my head feels, oh, it hurts so bad. And I was like, what on the earth is going on? And so I was up and I was getting some water and I think some more Tylenol, and I was on the couch and he comes home, and I started showing him stuff that we got from Walmart for the baby. And then I don't remember this seizure. I remember coming out of it, and I remember telling the paramedics, like, please save my baby, please save my baby, and telling them I don't want to die. My mom, he yelled for my mom. His mom actually had a seizure disorder, so he knew what to do. He knew to put me on his side, get me to the ground, and put me on my side. Stuff like that. So that's good. Oh God, I'm so sorry. You're like screaming, we can't see. So sorry. So that seizure I don't remember. Then we get to the ambulance. I get in the ambulance, we go to the hospital. I'm in the room. The doctor comes in. He explained, I'm awake then. he explains to me, you have what's called preeclampsia. It's very dangerous. Your life, the baby's life, everything. And the cure for it is we need to get this baby out right now. I was like, what do you mean? And he's just like, you have to have an emergency C-section right now. Like, I'm getting your doctor on the phone, and when he gets here, you'll go under, and we're gonna deliver this baby like it's an emergency. I was like, okay. I was like, where's my mom? And so my mom comes in, and even though they had already told her, I was telling her what's going on. She knew. And then all of a sudden I could feel it coming on. I knew something was happening. And I just remember like reaching out my arm like this to my mom. And I was like, Mom, and I said that, and right when I said that, my arm flew up and over my head, and I went into another seizure. And then the doctor was so upset because my doctor kept arguing with him on the phone, saying, oh yeah, because I went to see him too. Oh, sorry guys. So I went to see him because all of a sudden my feet and stuff, I started swelling like overnight, like bad. And I got my records, and I had protein in my urine. My blood pressure was sky high during that visit. Every single sign of toxemia or preeclampsia, eclampsia then, because it's not pre-nothing no more once you have it. It's eclampsia. Toxemia, eclampsia, it's all the same. Well, except preeclampsia, that's like the stages I was in, like having the headaches. The reason I had the headaches was because my blood pressure was so high. The reason I had seizures is because my blood pressure was so high. I was lucky I didn't have a stroke. So they kept giving me medication, trying to make my seizures stop, like magnesium, I think, like lots of that, some other things, and they were just trying to keep me alive till my doctor got there to deliver the baby. And my doctor kept arguing and saying, so you guys, I think I should have sued my OB. I really do. I had all the signs. I told him the signs. There were signs right there. He didn't like that I was a young mom. And not that this is a bad thing, but he was a Mormon. And they have different beliefs, guys. They feel that when you're too young, that you're not going to take care of the baby right and stuff like that, you know? And he kind of did say that to me once, and it did upset me, but I was so close to having him that I didn't want to find a different doctor when I was so close to having my son, you know? And so I was like, I don't care what anybody says. I know I'm going to be a good mom, you know? Like, I love him so much already that I can't imagine when he gets here how much I'm gonna love him. So, when I came out of that seizure, I was in a room, and my mom wasn't there. And I remember waking up, and I was grabbing at the nurse's glasses. Because when you come out of a seizure, you're in a panic. You don't know what's going on, you know? You're scared. You're trying to breathe. Your whole body hurts from your toes to your head because every single muscle in your body has just cramped up so brutal that you just hurt. And, so I was like grabbing at her face and stuff, and she's trying to calm me down. And you guys, my mom comes in the room, and I guess my doctor told them to check me to see how far I was dilated. So the anesthesiologist comes in, and he's like, what is going on? And they're like, we're checking to see how far she's dilated, and he said, I don't give a F how far she's dilated. What in the F are you guys doing? Get her to the OR now. So he was mad. And so the emergency doctor told my doctor, if you don't get down here and deliver this baby, I'm gonna find somebody that will. So he finally did come down and deliver my son, and they put me under. And then my son had to be in the NICU. He weighed 7'1". I did have another seizure after, so I had a total of 4 grand mal seizures before they got him out. So I had another one. So I had one at home, one in the ambulance, one in the room when I was telling my mom, then one before I got to the OR. So I had 4 of them before they got him out. And they told me, well, they didn't tell me then, but right when I had him, after I had him, I kept telling the nurse, I knew there was something wrong with me because of the faces that people made when they first saw me. Like, I'm like, what do I look like? Like, what is going on? Because why are people keep looking at me like that? Well, you guys, I knew something was wrong because my whole fingers were swollen. That they were swollen so bad they were stuck like this. So I couldn't eat, I couldn't grab anything or nothing because they were swollen and they were stuck open like this. So my whole body was swollen, even my face. Like, my mom said she didn't recognize me when she came in the room at first. And like, they had to warn people before they came in to see me that I don't look like me, that I'm very, very swollen, but it is me. That's why people were looking at me so funny. They're looking at me like, what in the hell happened to you? You know? So my face was all swollen. Everything was just swollen. My mom didn't even recognize me at first. So that tells you something. I was in the hospital for 7. He was in there for 11. So I did have to go home without my son. But at first I was just like, where's my baby? Where's my baby? And they're like, he's fine. He's in the NICU. They had me put blankets on my chest and lay them there for a while so that they could wrap him in it, and so he would have my scent to help calm him or something. I was like, what? They were shoving these blankets underneath me and everything, and I'm just like, what is going on? They're like, it helps NICU babies when they don't have their mom, because they know your smell already. Even though they're not, they know your smell before they're born. So once they're born, it makes them calmer if they have your smell and they can smell you. I was like, oh, okay. That makes more sense. But I was like, ew, you're gonna put this, like, I need to take a shower, like, I feel gross, and you're putting this blanket on my baby. like, do you know what I've just been through? And it was weird because my grandpa, I remember my grandpa, he came in, and it was just my grandpa, and me and him were talking, and I told my grandpa, I said, you know what, Grandpa, I said, me and Caden, we're gonna be okay. And he said, what? And I said, yeah, his name's gonna be Caden Dallas. That's my great-grandpa and my grandpa's middle name. And he just lit up. And he said, oh, my little Dallas. Oh, you guys, I'm getting teary because my grandpa, he passed away. But he's like, my little Dallas. I was like, yeah. And, so I told him, I was like, Grandpa Dallas came to me. Great Grandpa Dallas came to me and he told me that me and Caden were gonna be okay. Because the doctors told me that my son might not be okay. That my son might have permanent brain damage, and so I was like, let me see him. And that's all I kept saying over and over. I was like, I just want to see my baby. Because once you have your baby, you know, that's all you want. You just want to hold them, smell them, just everything. And she's like, I'm sorry. You've been through so much trauma. Your body's been through so much trauma that we can't even wheel you down there. And you can't walk right now. And I was like, listen, lady. This is what I told the nurse. I said, listen, lady. I said, if you don't get me a damn wheelchair right now and take me to go see my baby, I will get up and I will walk. And so my mom's like, can I talk to you outside? To the nurse. And the nurse was like, yeah. Well, I guess my mom told the nurse that she's like, she will get up, she's getting mad, she's getting angry, like, you guys need to give her something and calm her down and make her sleep or something, because she won't stop, and she will get up, and she'll probably harm herself, because she will try anything to go see her baby. So you need to, you need to knock her out. So she brings in a photo of my baby, of my son, and I was like, yeah, he's cute, but I want to see my son. She's like, okay. She said, I need to give you some medicine first, and then we'll go see your son. I was like, really? And so I was so excited, and I was like, okay. And so she's giving me the medicine, and she's putting it through my IV. I was like, you bitch, you know. I knew what she was doing. I knew I was going to sleep, and I was just like, you. Like, I was so mad. I just wanted to see my baby, you know. Stop it, Mia. I just wanted to see my baby. And just a minute, guys. Okay, sorry guys, I really didn't think. I thought I could get through this and be okay and not cry. But just talking about my grandpa really got to me. My grandpa was a great man, and he pretty much raised me, you know. I didn't have my dad in my life then, and my grandpa was the only male figure that was positive in my life growing up. So he was the only man that I knew, you know. So he pretty much raised me. That's really hard. And my grandpa, like, I would have named my son after my grandpa for sure, but my grandpa's name is Larry. And you guys, I didn't even think about Caden wasn't even an option that I had in my head for my son. I did think of Brayden. I really wanted Kyson, but Mikey, he didn't like that. I didn't know for sure what I wanted to name him. And I was like, I'll know when I see him, you know. But I guess when my great-grandpa came and saw me, you know, like, he told me that me and Caden Dallas, that we were going to be okay. And I never even thought of naming him Dallas. So that's really weird. I don't know why I didn't think that that would be his middle name. Like, that's my great-grandpa. He was a great man. And my grandpa, that was an amazing man, you know. Like, they're both amazing men in my life. And, like, I knew my great-grandparents. I knew my great-grandpa Nelson, but not my great-grandma. Not his wife. I don't remember her very much. I remember him though. He used to always love it when I sat in his lap and I would sing. He would have a recorder and I would sing into it. I wonder whatever happened on tapes of me as a little kid singing. You guys, I can't carry a tune to save my life. I don't know how the hell I sounded. But I guess I sounded perfect to him because he kept recording me. And like we'd go hunting with him, and yeah, I have a lot of great memories with him. So why wouldn't his name be Dallas? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. How I didn't even think of that. I was thinking all these other names, didn't know what his middle name was going to be when it was right there in front of my face. But, you know, I guess it took seeing my grandpa coming to me, my great-grandpa coming to me and telling me, and I seen him. And my grandpa, you guys, my grandpa, he did not believe in any of that. He didn't believe in spirits. He believed that you were just nothing when you die, there's just nothing. And after I told that to him, he believed me, and he started crying, and that really hit my grandpa really hard. And then he believed more that there really was an afterlife, and that I did talk to my great-grandpa. And I'm glad that my grandpa and my grandma were able to be here, because like I said, they went to Salt Lake to stay at my aunt's house. I think we did know that I was already dilated to... I think I was, what was I? I think I was like dilated to a 2, and I was like fully effaced or whatever, and so my doctor said that I was gonna have him within that week. And so we knew that it was coming up fast, but I had him like, oh, and then a week before that, so he would have been 4 weeks early, I went into labor. So my body naturally went into labor. If they just would have let me have him, none of this would have happened. But they wouldn't let me have him because 4 weeks is considered a premature, and they will do everything to stop your labor. And they did stop my labor and sent me home. But I was thinking, I was like, you know, if I would have had him like a home birth or maybe something like that, like, I would have had him, I would have been able to experience labor and having him. I at that time, I don't know, but I didn't want the epidural. I wanted to try and have him on my own. And I just feel robbed of that enjoyment, you know? Like, I don't know if any of y'all have ever had to have an emergency C-section, but you're not awake. You don't hear your baby's first cry. You don't hear none of that. And Caden, so they came in and they told me that my son had a bleed on his brain, and he was what they called limp because of all the medications they gave me and trying to stop my seizures, and then also putting me completely under. It drugged him, so it made him really sleepy. So he didn't want to eat, he didn't want to do nothing, he just wanted to sleep. So he had tubes put down his nose, and to feed him, had a feeding tube, until he started waking up and started actually taking the bottle. And like, I was gonna try and breastfeed, and then I was like, is he taking my milk? Because they were coming and, you know, having me pump every couple hours. So I thought they were giving him my milk, and they said, oh, we're giving him a bottle. I said, why? And they're like, because you're on really high doses of pain medicine, you're on morphine, and we can't give him your milk because then we'd be giving him morphine, you know, we'd be drugging him. I was like, oh, yeah, that's not good, okay. And so, like, I had to have a blood transfusion. I almost died again, you guys. So I kept, every time, you know, after surgeries and stuff, they make you stand up and you have to walk around and all that stuff. Well, every time I stood up, I felt like I was gonna faint. I'd go white as a ghost, and I felt like I was gonna faint. My doctor he really told my mom that I was being lazy and didn't want to walk. My mom had had enough with that doctor now, so she was like, you know what, you're fired. So when you fire a doctor, they have to bring someone else in for their place, especially when you're in the hospital. So that's what he did. And all it took was this doctor, she came in, seriously looked at me for 2 seconds to get her blood count now. Didn't know me. I had never seen this lady before. And all it took for her, hold on, I'm gonna adjust everything. All it took for her to know what was wrong with me was to look at me. That's it. Look at me. And she knew what was wrong. My doctor, who had been looking at me and taking care of me my whole 9 months of pregnancy, didn't even care to know what was wrong with me. Yeah, I had some other stuff go on too that I had to go to him. I didn't have a choice because I hadn't got a new doctor yet. Oh my goodness, it was a mess, guys. Just a second, let me get this all set up. I'm gonna have to move my camera, so I'm gonna put you on pause. Okay, I think I'm situated here now. But where was I? The doctors told me about bleeding on his brain. Oh no. So they said I had to take more tests with him. I didn't know a lot, but by then I at least had got to see him. And right when I seen him and held him, I just knew in my heart he was completely fine. And that's what I told my mom. I was like, I know he's fine. He's completely fine. He stares at me, he looks at me like he's an old soul. That's what I told my mom. I was like, I know he's okay. And he was. And so like I said, the doctor took one look at me and said, get her blood counting now. And she laid me back down the bed, and she explained to me right then, she's like, I think you're gonna need a blood transfusion. And so then once they get all that done, she comes in and confirms that I do need a blood transfusion and that my blood count was extremely low, and that if I wouldn't have got that blood transfusion when I did, I probably wouldn't be here. So again, my doctor had failed me. Not once, but twice. And I can't really say twice. I can say 3 times, but then I'd have to go into that story. That's a long story for you. So I'll save that one for next time. There's a little tiny hair there that's bugging me. But where was it? So I got the blood transfusion. Like I said, I had to stay in there for 7 days, and then I had to go home without my son. He was in there for 11, and he was perfectly fine. He was the biggest baby in the NICU. He weighed 7 pounds, 1 ounce. So he's the biggest baby in there. I had some of the parents like look at me like, what in the world? Like, why is your baby in here? You know what I mean? Like, they've got 2-pound babies, and here I am having a 7-pound baby. But no, babies are in the NICU for a reason, you know. Something's going on. I'm just like, come on, little man, like, start doing what you need to do so you can come home. And like I said, that's all it took for me, anyway, to get out of an abusive relationship, was holding my son and knowing I didn't want him to see that. I didn't want him to see what happened to me, what I was going through. I didn't want him to grow up thinking that was okay. So having him completely changed me, and I think pretty much saved me, you guys. Like, I don't know how far his biological dad would have went, you know? He went pretty far on some occasions, so I can't imagine. And if he would have touched my son, like, yeah. And then I have it's a catch-22, because I hate talking about him because, you know, he's no longer here. And that's another hard thing. Like, my son can never ask him any questions. My son says he's okay. That he doesn't care that, you know, like, his dad's his dad. My husband, you know, like, that's his dad. Which that's how my girls feel too. My girls don't want no part of their, you know, egg donors' life. Like, they say we have our mom and we don't need her. Like, they just say we don't need her. Like, she wasn't there for us. Like, why would she need to be there now? She wasn't there when we needed her the most, you know? And because she's reached out to them, and I was like, if you guys want to, go ahead, you know? Like, I bet you guys got some questions that you want to answered, like, and maybe see her, you know? And they're like, no. Like, the doctor was like so surprised. Everybody's really shocked when I tell them, because I'll show them pictures of my daughters and stuff, and my son. And this doctor, he was like, he was a new doctor, and he was like, you are not the mom to all 3 of these kids? And I said, no, just to him. And he was like, you know what? He's like, I would have bet my career that these were your kids. Just looking at them like these were your daughters, because my son and my daughter looked alike. Everybody thought they were twins. He was a little bit taller than her. They looked like twins. So they do look like me. And it's crazy that they do. I don't know how that happens, but yeah, they look like me. And that's just crazy. Like, that doctor even confirming it, you know? Like, saying, like, he would have bet his degree that I was a biological mom to all of these kids, because they all looked like brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's crazy, but I love them. We tried for 5 years. Almost 6. It was almost 6 years that we tried to have another baby for, and I just could never get pregnant again, I guess. And my endometriosis got so bad that it started attaching itself to other parts of my, like, my bowels and other organs, not just my uterus. So at the age of like 22, I had to have a complete full hysterectomy, and so there was no chance for any more babies. I told my kids, I was like, yeah, I'd still be probably popping them out to this day. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, you guys. I don't know what I'd do if they told me I was pregnant at this old. Oh my gosh, I'd cry. Like, my grandkids wear me the heck out. I mean, I know you just buckle up and you do what you gotta do when you're a parent. You know, that's just what we all do. And, hold on, guys. Ow. They need to go outside, I think. You know, we'll do what we need to do to get stuff done. You know, that's just what we do as parents and everything. But if they told me I was pregnant now, I'd freak out. I'd cry. But yeah, we did. We tried. We wanted one together, you know, and it didn't make a difference because I got Marshall, Mia. I got 2 daughters and a son, and he has 2 daughters and a son. You know, he got his son, I got my daughters, and that's all that matters. And we're a family, and we love each other, you know. And I think another reason was maybe I would have not survived if I would have had another baby. Maybe I would have had preeclampsia again. And what if I had to choose between my baby and myself? Like, what would I have done? You know, stuff like that enters my head. But yeah. It's just something that I just don't tell everybody that, you know, they're biologically not my kids, you know, because they are my kids. They're my heart, they're my soul, every single one of them. And I wouldn't want it any other way. I mean, of course I'd have loved to carry them and feel them and me be the one to do that, but unfortunately I wasn't picked for that job, but I was picked to be their mother for a reason. And you know, there's just reasons for things, and I didn't understand. I was so upset. Everybody was getting pregnant. It felt like everybody I knew was getting pregnant and having multiple babies, and then you hear stories about people not wanting the babies and doing what they do to the babies, and I'm just like, how can they do that? All I want is just one more baby, and I can't have any. And I'm like, Amber, there's some people that can't even have their own child at all. You did go through the experience once, you know. I wanted to go through that experience one more time, because it seems like the first time you go through it, it's kind of, you don't get to enjoy it. It's all the first, you're nervous about everything. I think the second time you probably wouldn't be as nervous, and you can actually enjoy it. And like, I didn't have someone that wanted to feel the baby kick. He never did. He never felt him kick, not once. Like, I didn't have anybody that was, besides my mom and stuff, of course, I didn't have anybody there that was excited, you know, and besides myself and my mom. I'm talking about him. Stop! I'm talking about him, you know. And he wasn't excited. He didn't want to be a dad. And that's all there was to it. And when the day I brought my son home was the day I said goodbye to him. I called him and I just said, we're done. I'm not going to keep you from your son, but yeah, I'm done. Like I said, that's all it took for me. It just took looking and holding my son, and just looking into his eyes and just knowing that I would do anything for him, and I didn't want him to go through anything like that. If I could prevent any harm or any sadness or anything like that, I would, you know, and I did. And so yeah, I left him, and he did want to get back together, especially when I met my husband. He said he wanted his family back and stuff. I'm like, dude, you never had your family. You never had, you know, like, you never had a family. So how can you have your family back when you never had it? And he's from Idaho, and he eventually moved back to Idaho, and yeah. But that's how my son came, guys. And yeah, he came. I tell him, I said, you came into this world with a bang. I was like, you almost took me out, well, dude. But that was the best day of my life. The scariest, the best, I was just so worried about him. The bleed, it went away. His body absorbed it, so it wasn't gonna harm him in any way. His vision was fine. The only thing that was wrong, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but he had earaches a lot. He had to have tubes in his ears, and his speech was affected because of that. The doctors explained to me that it was like, for him learning to talk, it was like if you were underwater hearing, that's how he would talk. Nobody could understand him but me and my daughter. My oldest, Elijah, she'd get so mad at people when they're like, I don't know what he said, and she's like, ah, you know, and she's like, he said, and she just gets so mad. She's always a little defender, you know, of her brother and sister, and she's still that way. But yeah, that's how my son came into the world, and it was quite scary. Let me know if y'all have been through anything like that, or know anybody that's went through some. I'm gonna have to take some of these blues out probably, and put some blues right here, or maybe I won't, I don't know. But it's been 1 hour and 8 minutes, and I told you about how my son got here, and it was scary, guys. It was really, really scary. And like, it was hard at first because for my mom, because she kept saying like, how's my daughter? How's my daughter? They're like, we don't know. And they're like, well, you can go see your grandson. And she's like, I feel so bad to this day. She's like, but she told them no. She was like, I want to know how my daughter is. And they were like, well, just let's go see the baby, and, you know, that'll calm me down. And she didn't want to see him at first, because they said that they didn't know how I was, and she just wanted to know that I was okay, you know. Because at that time, you know, they get the baby out, then they're focusing on making sure that you're okay, you know, and that you're pulling through. I actually had the University of Utah and I think Weber State do an article in a book about me. They came and interviewed me and everything in the hospital, because I guess they haven't had a case. They haven't had a case that bad. That bad. They haven't had a case that bad that someone's actually went into, that's had grand mal seizures, because usually it's caught way ahead, you know. It's usually caught when the woman blood pressure goes up, or when they have protein in their urine. And usually most doctors will be looking out even more because it happens to when you're young. You know, when you're young, it happens. So, yeah, I had all the signs, guys. Every single one of them that you could think of, I had it. I think the emergency room, you know, they probably would have caught on to it if they would have known, like, if I would have known that my blood pressure was that high. Like, now, I always ask them, even though I'm not pregnant or nothing, I always ask them, what's my blood pressure? Every time. Because I didn't before. I knew I had low blood pressure, but I never asked. And maybe if I would have asked, maybe then he would have realized, oh wow, your blood pressure's high. And then he could have kept a better eye on me, you know, and certain signs I had, it would have been, the symptoms I had would have been like, okay, let's get this baby out. But it didn't work that way, unfortunately. But, you know, we go through things like this to make us stronger, and I believe, and just to make us, just to wake us up and make us realize that within a moment, you know, everything can be taken away from us. So, like, you know, hug your kids a little more for 10 more seconds, you know, like, read them another bedtime story. Like, you never know what's gonna happen. Having that happen to me was horrible, but good. I was just so relieved that my son was okay. I was just so worried about him. And then not being able to see him was the hardest thing for that first day. And that, cause like I said, that's all you want to do. You carry them. You're pregnant, which seems like forever. Enough. What seems like forever, and that's all you want to do. So I'm picking these off, guys, so that I can place ABs. That's the only reason I'm picking these off. And I'm just doing it randomly. Like, just randomly picking some off. Just so I can put a few ABs down right there. Otherwise, I wouldn't be picking these off. No way. But yeah, I hope you guys like this story of how my son came into this world, and sorry about the not posting the one WIP N CHAT, and I tried to do a WIP N CHAT and my phone doesn't have enough storage, and then I need to announce something too. But my husband, you guys, he's so sweet. He's like, he just tells me, he's like, oh, by the way, your new laptop's gonna be here on the 16th. I was like, what? He got me a laptop so that I could do better videos and stuff, and not have to worry about my phone and it messing up and my videos messing up and stuff. But this is actually the giveaway video. Okay, so what am I gonna say? Since it was about my baby being and how he's born in this world, the keyword's gonna be baby. So if you want to be entered into the giveaway for the 400 subscriber giveaway, this is the video, guys. At the very end, I know I'm a mean person, and this just makes me know who really watches all my videos. You know, like, you really watch them through the whole. I have so many. I do it. I watched them through their whole video to the next video. Like, and that story's pretty interesting, so why wouldn't you have listened to this whole thing? But yeah, so only those people, guys, that watched the whole thing. I'm not gonna say giveaway in the title, nowhere like that. I'm not gonna say anything. The only thing I'll say is like, thank you, love, good luck, you know? And yeah, you guys, I'm almost there. I'm almost at 400, and that's nuts because it feels like I was just at 300. And I appreciate y'all so much. I love you guys. I appreciate you. My dogs need to go to the bathroom. That's why she's freaking out. And I love you guys. And thank you so much for all your support. All of your kind comments. I hope to get a lot of comments, especially ones that say baby. If you don't want to be in the giveaway, you can go ahead and comment and just not say the word baby. But that's going to be the key word to know that you guys watch the video. Is the keyword is baby. So make sure you say baby, guys. Alright, we love you guys. Me and Mia and Marshall, we love you guys. Have a great night, day or morning, wherever you're from. Goodbye, loves.